What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my devlog series. This is episode 3 of Zombies in My Neighborhood, and today I'm going to be going over all of the updates and changes that I made. Alright, so one of the first things I had to do was finish resizing the guns so that they fit the game. So let's just check this out here. Okay. Alright, so you can see they fit a lot better. They're in the correct spot. Perfect. Alright, so the next step was to attach a script to all of the guns to get them working. I basically created a universal script that all of the guns use. So let's just purchase that. As it works. Check Thompson. And obviously I have to spend some time actually working on the gun sounds, make them a lot more appropriate and just overall better sounding. But alright, perfect. Alright, and just to briefly address that issue I mentioned last week pertaining to purchasing primary versus secondary weapons, I basically created a function within the gun unequipped script that gets called whenever you purchase or equip a gun, and I basically just turn off and on the primary and secondary weapon slots. So if you take a look here, Uzi, that's a primary weapon. When this is called, the primary weapon slot gets set to active, and then the secondary weapon slot gets set to false, and then vice versa for the secondary weapons. Let's see. Yep, okay, so we have the Walther here. Primary gets turned off, and secondary gets turned on. Alright, so let's just take a look at what this looks like. So if we equip the Ithaca, we should just be holding that. And then if we do the Walther, yep, perfect. Try one more, MP5. Perfect. Alright, so I'm going to briefly go through the universal gun script that all of the guns are using. I'm not going to go through every single line, just the important parts that I implemented that pertain to my game. And the outline of this actually came from the Bracky's first-person shooter video. So if you're looking for a little bit more information, I definitely recommend checking that out. And I can also make separate videos detailing certain things that I created in here. Alright, so the first thing I want to show you is how I made this script applicable to all of the guns. So if you scroll down to the update method, you'll see I have two if statements. Again, using the tags, one if statement grabs the tag of all of the automatic weapons. So you see you have the AA-12, HK-UMP, FN SCAR, AK-47, and then the second one grabs all of the tags for the single-shot weapons. So the handguns, the Ithaca shotgun, the M40, and then I also have the M16 inside the single-shot if statement, but I'll get to that in a minute. So the main difference, if you take a look, for the automatics, you'll see if input.get mouse button 0, again, that's the left mouse button, and then for the single shot, you'll see input.get mouse button down. So get mouse button performs an action the entire time the button is held down, and then get mouse button down only performs the action on the frame that the button is pressed. So in this case, this means the shoot method is going to be called the entire time the left mouse button is held down, and then for the single shot, it's only going to be called once on the frame that you press the button down. So if you scroll down to the shoot method, you'll see again I'm using the tags, and that's because there are elements that are specific to each gun. So for example, the gun sound when you shoot. So I basically have an audio manager set up that just holds an array of sounds. So if you look inside the AA12, I call the AA12 shot HKUMP, HKUMP shot, FN SCAR, and so on and so forth. And the other reason why I'm using tags inside of the shoot method is so I can separate the shotguns from the rest of the weapons. So if you scroll down a little bit, we'll go to a normal gun. You see here we have the HKUMP. Inside this if statement, we have another if statement that creates the raycast. So what we're doing here is creating a raycast, defining its origin, sending it forward, so the path of the bullet, determining if it hits something, and then the range of the raycast. So in this instance, we are originating it on the first-person camera, and then just sending it forward, and then again detecting if it hits something, and then the range of it. Alright, so let's say you wanted to simulate the spread of a shotgun. So instead of one raycast, we're going to have 5. If you take a look here, we have the AA12. I have 5 raycasts set up. And basically what I did was I left the first one alone, so it's the normal transform forward raycast. And then for the other 4, I added a new vector 3 that basically changes the direction of it a little bit, so it offsets the impact. So if you take a look here for the second raycast, you'll see I have fpscam.transform.forward plus new vector 3, and because it is a vector 3, you have to enter 3 coordinates, but obviously we leave 2 of them 0 and only add an actual value to the direction we want. So in this case, we're adding 0.2f to the x-axis, which is going to send this raycast a little bit to the right. And then the next one, the third one, we have negative 0.2f, so that's going to send it a little bit to the left. And then for the fourth one, we have 0 for the x-coordinate, and then 0.2f for the y-coordinate. That's going to send it a little bit up. And then the fifth raycast, we have 0, negative 0.2f for the y value. So that's going to send it a little bit down. Alright, so just to briefly show you what this looks like, you see I have the MP5 here. We have just the one raycast being sent out. But now if we go to you'll see I have 5. And now you can increase or decrease this value depending on how big or small you want the spread to be. And one quick thing that's worth mentioning, when you set up your gun scripts, and if you're using the first-person camera as the point of origin, you may run into a problem where the raycast hits either you or your gun. So in order to prevent this, if you take a look here at the raycast statements, you'll see the last parameter I'm using I have written out as gun layer mask. So what you want to do is define a layer mask at the top of your script, and then any of the unselected layers will be ignored by the raycast. So if you take a look here, I have the AA12 universal gun script. So you'll see this is my gun layer mask, and I put the player on a layer called player, and then the weapons on a layer called weapons, and then I unchecked player and weapons. So these 2 layers will be ignored by the raycast. Alright, and the thing to note here is I've made this mistake in the past. If you use a layer mask for a raycast, make sure that you have the correct placement of all of the parameters. So we have the transform.position, transform.forward. Oftentimes, people won't put the range in here. So if you skip this part, you don't put the range, and you just put, detect if we hit something, and then gun layer mask, this will be used as the range of the raycast. So just make sure you have the range put in here, and then the gun layer mask. All right, and the other thing I wanted to briefly go over with this script is how to get multiple sounds to play, or multiple things that happen at the same time, or in quick succession. So if we take a look here, perfect example of this will be the Ithaca shotgun. Alright, so we have the shot, and then the pump noise. Alright, so the way to achieve this is through the invoke function. Alright, so if we scroll down to the Ithaca shotgun, you'll see when the shooting occurs, we have find object of type, audio manager, play the Ithaca shot. Alright, and then down here, underneath all of this raycast information, I wrote invoke shotgun pump, comma, shotgun pump noise. Okay, so we're invoking another method. So if we scroll down here, you'll see I have a method written out for the shotgun pump, and inside that, same thing, find object of type, audio manager, and we're just playing a shotgun pump noise. And another example of this will be with the M16. So again, going back to the update method, where I have the automatic and semi-automatic weapons separated. Yeah, right here. Okay, so you'll see I have the M16 listed as the single shot, right? So get mouse button down only happens on the one frame that you press it. And the reason why is because I made the M16 in my gun a 3-round burst. And basically what happens when you shoot the M16, if we scroll down. Alright, so if we scroll down to the M16 inside the shoot method, you'll see we have find object of type, same thing, play the M16 shot, and then one raycast gets created. But then underneath, I have 2 invoke functions created. So I have invoke M16 second shot, and then invoke M16 third shot. So if we scroll down, you'll see I have 2 methods. Here we go. Void M16 second shot, void M16 third shot. So basically, when we pull the trigger, the first shot occurs, and then immediately after, we have the second shot and then the third shot, and then it basically just does the same thing, creates another raycast, and then plays the M16 shot sound. And if we take a look at the invoke functions, you'll see the parameter that follows the name of the method. This determines how quickly this method is called. And then it's the same thing for the Ithaca. So we invoke, so after the shot, we invoke the shotgun pump method, and this just determines how quickly that invoke occurs. Alright, and the thing that was a little bit tricky about this universal script, so the way the game is set up is when you purchase or equip a weapon, it creates a copy of the prefab and just attaches it to your character. So we need anything that is going to be used already on the prefab. So that's why, again, if you take a look here, I have the AA-12 universal gun script already attached. AK, same thing. Glock, same thing. And what we need to do is make sure that the script references everything appropriately before it comes into play. So if you take a look here, you'll see we're referencing a camera shake script. We're referencing the FPS camera, and then the ammo display, muzzle flash, and then impact effect. So you'll notice for the camera shake script, there's no script for me to grab there. And then for the FPS cam, there's no camera for me to grab there. And then same thing with the ammo display and total ammo display. There's nothing for me to place there. And the reason for this is because a prefab that has a script attached to it cannot use objects that are scene dependent. So the camera shake script, and then the ammo display are all scene dependent, meaning if we were to open up another scene, they would not exist. Therefore, we can't attach them to a script that lives on a prefab. On the flip side, if you take a look at this, the muzzle flash and the impact effect, these are both scene independent. So the impact effect is another prefab that no matter what scene you load will exist in the project. And then for the muzzle flash, it's part of the gun. So it's part of the prefab, so that can be referenced. So in order to get around this, we again have to use tags. And when we define these variables, we basically say find game object with said tag. So in the FPS cam case, you'll see in the start method we have FPS cam equals game object dot find with tag, and then we have to make sure this tag matches the whatever we have on the FPS cam. So in my case, I have main camera, and then we write dot get component, and then we grab the camera on there. And then same thing right underneath it, we have a camera shake script that we want to reference. So we're going to define it as game object dot find with tag, find the main camera again, and then instead of grabbing the camera, we grab the camera shake script. And again, the title is important. We just want to make sure it's the same title, caps included, as the script. Alright, so if you take a look at the scene, let me just back out of this. You'll see if I scroll down to where the camera is, the first person camera, here it is. You'll see I have main camera as the tag. So let's go and purchase a weapon. Alright, and now open up where that gun is. So you have the clone here. You'll see that the camera shake script is referenced and the main camera is grabbed. And then same thing with the ammo text and total ammo display. Alright, and that is pretty much it for the gun script. A couple of other things I did want to show you really quick. So as stated in the last video, I turned this into the upgrade shop. So same thing as the gun shop. Walk over to it, press E, open it up, and you could select the specific items. And then I also added a flamethrower system. I know, very intimidating the way it's built. I'm definitely going to make a better design. I'm kind of just looking through, you know, images online and whatnot, and kind of gauging how I want to make the actual model. This was kind of just built it really quick just to have something. But the idea with this is I do want to have some type of reload system for both the flamethrower and the turret. So if you see here this little like red thing, I kind of want to make like a tank that sits on the side of it, and you basically have to purchase new ones every time it's empty, and then carry it over, replace it. And then same thing with the turret. I want to have, you know, it runs out of ammo, you have to purchase like a giant belt, walk it over, and equip it and reload it. All right, and just to show you how the flamethrower system works, so you purchase it. So there's two, one on each side of your defense, and basically there's going to be two buttons, one for the flamethrower, one for the turret, and when these defense systems are purchased, you can turn them on and off, giving you the ability to conserve ammo. So let's turn it on, and you'll see, boom, flames are shooting, and the next step is to, well, aside from adding an actual damage system to it, have it only shoot the flames when there are zombies in the area. Alright, and the last thing that I want to show is the knife system that I implemented. So you'll see here, there's a combat knife model. Same thing, you can click it, it'll pull up the model. I already purchased it, so I own it. But basically when you purchase it, there's a bool stating whether the knife is owned or not, and that gets turned to true. Alright, so if we take a look here at the hierarchy, I have the bool on the player walk script. I may change that, but for now that's where it is. So you'll see here, owned knife is now set to true. And then I have a knife hold location, which is just pretty much right in front of the character's chest. So when this bool is true and the space bar is hit, the knife prefab is a copy of the knife prefab, similar to, you know, a copy of the guns, is instantiated onto the knife hold position. It's facing forward, and then I have an animation play that just lunges it forward and back, and then the knife is deleted. Alright, so if we take a look, what that looks like. So I own the knife, stab. And now I'm still working on making it smoother and just overall better looking. I would rather change it from having an animation that plays to having it move through script by way of Lerp. I know I need to do that for the weapons as well, so the next step with the guns is to have an aiming ability, and then gun recoil as well, and both of those are going to be done through Lerp. So I wanted to kind of make that the next step, because I'm not 100% with Lerp, and it definitely takes me a while to kind of get that down, but that'll definitely be for the next video. Alright, well, as always, I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you learned a thing or two, or again, maybe you just got the creative juices flowing. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.